In April 2026, top military officials sat before the House Armed Services Committee to deliver a seemingly neat, manageable price tag for the war in Iran: $25 billion. The Pentagon testified that this figure was a comprehensive total, mostly accounting for the massive amount of precision munitions already fired during the conflict. But leaked internal Defense Department assessments tell a different story. These documents reveal that the true cost of the 9-week-old war has already blown past $50 billion. The official public number deliberately ignores a massive line item: the physical destruction of United States military infrastructure across the Persian Gulf. Delaying this accounting maneuver helps the administration shield its record $1.5 trillion defense budget request for 2027 from immediate congressional scrutiny. When you strip away the accounting tricks, you find a material reality that demands a serious audit into the hidden costs of Operation Epic Fury. The initial Iranian retaliatory strikes targeted over 100 sites across at least 11 military installations in 7 different countries. In Bahrain, multiple missile impacts struck the main command building at the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters, causing an estimated $200 million in structural damage to that facility alone. Over in Qatar, the primary runway at Al Udeid Air Base was completely destroyed, effectively grounding a massive portion of the region's tactical air fleet for days. The regional sensor net was severely degraded as well, including the loss of highly advanced radar infrastructure for the THAAD missile defense systems in both Jordan and the United Arab Emirates. Independent analysis indicates that repairing this sprawling network of damaged facilities could cost up to $10 billion. With core functions paralyzed and the repair bill mounting, the sheer vulnerability of these fixed targets suggests the strategy of the centralized Gulf megabase has reached a breaking point. Beyond concrete and runways, that hidden $50 billion estimate is being driven by the loss of highly advanced, so-called exquisite American aircraft. The military has confirmed the loss of at least 4 $100 million F-15E Strike Eagles, multiple KC-135 Stratotankers destroyed on the ground, and anywhere from 12 to 24 MQ-9 Reaper drones. The single most expensive casualty in the air was the destruction of an E-3 Sentry AWACS aircraft, recognizable by its massive radar dome, hit while parked at a base in Saudi Arabia. These airborne warning and control planes act as critical force multipliers for managing aerial combat. With production lines closed, they are exceptionally expensive and practically irreplaceable in the short term. By targeting these exact platforms, Iran's asymmetric strategy successfully turned the U.S. military's reliance on fragile, top-tier technology into a massive financial liability. The localized military destruction quickly triggered a global ripple effect. On March 4th, the Strait of Hormuz effectively closed to commercial traffic, instantly removing 20% of the world's oil supply from the market. This map shows the commercial traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. The physical blockade was reinforced by the insurance weapon. Within 48 hours, war risk premiums surged 60-fold, creating a commercial shutdown that dropped maritime transit by 95%. This bottleneck left roughly 2,000 ships stranded. The paralysis forced the U.S. government to step in as the insurer of last resort, setting up a $40 billion reinsurance facility to backstop the ships and get them moving again. The resulting energy shock caused historic volatility, driving Brent crude prices to a peak of $126 per barrel. Back in the United States, average gasoline prices rocketed to $4.23 per gallon. Lawmakers estimate this spike will cost the average American household an extra $5,000 this year. The kinetic conflict in the Middle East mutated into a global economic crisis, one that everyday taxpayers are now forced to subsidize. This chart illustrates the hidden cost of financing a conflict on credit. The U.S. is paying for this war, while federal interest payments on the public debt already exceed $1.04 trillion annually. At a 4% interest rate, borrowing to cover these operational costs will double the true repayment cost over the next 30 years. This creates a punishing cycle, where the Pentagon cannot simply borrow and rebuild its way out of the Persian Gulf damage without risking a broader sovereign debt crisis. The economic strain is also fracturing alliances. Frustrated by the disruption, the United Arab Emirates has threatened to leave OPEC entirely and begin selling its oil in Chinese yuan, challenging the petrodollar system. Concurrently, the United Kingdom is pursuing a massive strategic reset toward the European Union, looking to distance itself from the American-led economic fallout. These hidden costs are draining the national treasury while simultaneously dismantling the global alliances that have long upheld American economic hegemony. Back in Washington, lawmakers are warning of a looming constitutional crisis as the 90-day threshold under the War Powers Act approaches, with combat operations continuing without formal congressional authorization. To keep the military funded, the administration has proposed slashing non-defense discretionary funding by $83 billion, driving domestic spending to its lowest level since the Eisenhower era. Amid these steep cuts to domestic programs, the administration is also pushing a $50 million administrative initiative to rename the Department of Defense back to the Department of War. The United States still maintains the immense lethal power to strike targets around the globe, but the actual balance sheet of Operation Epic Fury shows that America can no longer easily afford the economic and strategic fallout of its own wars.